All right. Hey, welcome everybody. Rob here with our BSPU call this week. Excited to be back with you. Of course, I've already spent a great deal of time talking about crypto and book reviews and all those kinds of things. But now it's on to our subject matter at hand, which is about having the right people in the right place, or at least that's the title that I gave it. I don't know that that's the best title. I really want to talk about you growing and scaling your business if that's something that you're interested in doing. At the very least, I imagine that you may want to stay lean and not have a large staff, but more than likely there are parts of your business that you don't want to do and quite frankly should not be doing. And so I want to talk about the steps that you need to and should take as your book starts bringing you more opportunities for speaking engagements, online opportunities, leads, customers, et cetera. I want to talk to you about how you can begin scaling and how you should think about scaling and growing your business. So I call it right people in the right place, but really it's about a scaling. So what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut off my camera, and then I am actually going to go to our whiteboard. And I love my whiteboard because it's my Microsoft Surface and I get to write on it with my fancy schmancy pen. So hang on one second and I will be right with you. All of you should be able to see that now. And I have my whiteboard in front of me. If for some reason you don't see a whiteboard, then we have a big problem and I need you to let me know. All right. So right people in the right place. Right people, right place. And I want you to start with the thinking of what you're doing in your business right now that perhaps you shouldn't be doing as compared to the things that you should be doing, and even as compared to the things that you really want to be doing. And as you can see, what I'm writing on the board right now is $10 an hour, $100 an hour, and $1,000 an hour work. In your business, right now, you have things that you're doing that are administrative tasks. You have things in your business that you're doing that have to do with software and computer programs that, quite frankly, you could pay somebody as little as 10 bucks an hour. Now, you probably shouldn't, right? And maybe the minimum wage needs to go up to 15. You understand what I'm saying, right? Okay, this is a task that should be outsourced either to an employee or to somebody because it is low level enough that every hour that you spend on that, you are actually taking away from hours that you could be spending much more valuable to you and to your business long term. Now, what are those things? And by the way, we can make a longer list and we could do that together, but that's not what's important. What's important is you make your list of what these $10 an hour responsibilities and jobs are that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. Well, what do, at least in my business and from my perspective, what do $100 an hour tasks look like? Well, for me, that might be various writing tasks. And when I say writing, I'm talking about the kind of writing that can be outsourced, because I'm also going to say that content is a $1,000 an hour task. Creating good content in your business, in other words, writing your book, is a $1,000 an hour value task that you're doing because your book can live forever. I don't know how many hours I spent on Publish, Promote, Profit, but I've made millions of dollars from that content that I produced one time. Okay. So I'm not talking, when I say writing, I'm not talking about the kind of content of your book or even a podcast that you do. I'm talking about maybe copy that needs to be written for your business, or ads that need to be written for your business, or maybe emails that need to be written for your business. This is still $100, potentially $100 an hour work, but it's stuff that can be outsourced. What else can be? Well, certain kinds of training can be, and I'm going to give you some examples of that. Management, right, can be outsourced. And when I say management, that could be an employee that you're paying. That's like an operations manager. It can also be somebody that is like, you know, a 1099 person that you're paying to oversee various aspects of your business. I have both of those in my company, and I'm going to share examples of that. And then even sales, and sales might be, you know, $100 plus, but at some point, you're going to have so many leads and opportunities if you want to scale your business, that sales are going to be something that you can't do yourself. I had to, probably 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, say, you know what, I can't handle all the leads and opportunities. I need to outsource that to somebody else. And that became our author development coaches and our sales team. So what else is $1,000 an hour work? Well, I wrote content first, but that may not be the number one thing. I would say things like strategizing and thinking is perhaps the most valuable work that you can do in your business. Strategizing and thinking. Marketing itself, you know, I've always said to you that there are two things within your business that you shouldn't outsource ever. One of them is marketing, and the other is your checkbook, right? Your, you know, writing of the checks. And maybe if you get to the point where your company's doing $100 million a year or 80 million bucks a year, then sure, you want to, we have an accountant and I have a bookkeeper and I have all of that, but I'm still the one that looks at the checks and signs the checks. I do believe that the marketing and the checkbooks are two things that are $1,000 an hour work and should have your attention. Now, you may argue with me or disagree on the validity of these things, right? You may say, you know what, Rob, you know, software is so important in my business. I don't think that's a $10 an hour job. I think that's a $100 an hour job. Great. You may say, you know what, Rob, you know, I don't want to be focused on the checkbook. I want someone else to do that. I would really fight with you over that. But you say, well, I really want someone else to do that. So I'm going to outsource that piece of it, and they're going to handle all of the finances, not just the accounting and the bookkeeping, et cetera. You want them to actually write and sign the checks. Great. We may argue about these things. You may love this idea. You may love this idea. You may love this idea. You may hate the others. Here's the thing. You make your own list of what this looks like, but you begin to categorize what is $10 an hour work that is costing you money. What is $100 an hour work that, depending on the size of your business, is also costing you money, until you get to the point where literally this is the kind of work that you're focused on a regular basis. You are focused on the $1,000 an hour work. This is most certainly the two areas that you should be focused on. And if there's anything in this category, and you make your own notes about what this is, but if there's anything in this category, you need to find a way to get this stuff off your plate and to get it on someone else's plate to do. Okay. So this is kind of the foundation or the beginning of what I wanted to share about having the right people in the right place. Here is the number one thing. You are the number one person in your business, right? You're the brain trust of your business. You're the mouthpiece of your business. You're the one that is thinking and strategizing to grow your business. So you need to be, you're the number one person that needs to be in the right place in your business. Okay. So when we talk about right people in the right place, it's not just, I need to have people that are good at sales in the sales position. I need to have people that are good at accounting in the accounting position. No. Number one is you need to be in the right position. And if you're doing this $10 an hour stuff, you are not in the right position. I hope that makes sense to all of you, and that you really take that to heart, because I'm not trying to sell a virtual assistant service here, but I'm trying to tell you that whatever you need to do to get this $10 an hour work off your plate and onto somebody else's, you need to do it. And the sooner, the better. Okay. Get to the $100 hour, get to the $1,000 an hour work. Okay. So let me stop the share. I'm going to continue talking about this idea, but let me stop the sharing and just kind of share a little bit about what we're doing at Bestseller Publishing and how this works directly for me. So here we go. All right. So a great example of this is, a couple of hires that we've made of people that you know and don't know. And this can work in a lot of different ways. But many of you know Bob. Bob Harpole is our operations person, client experience manager, or client experience person, but really he runs the operations and has his hands in that piece. Now, Bob has been a friend of mine for 20 years. We are very close and have been. In the past, Bob worked for Bestseller Publishing in the role of author development coach. And I would probably say that Bob did a good job. I would probably say that Bob was successful to mildly successful. Bob didn't think so. And so for a time, he moved on and looked at some other opportunities. We had an opportunity to bring Bob back in what I felt like and what Bob felt like much more his desire and role, which was in this managerial operations role. And it's been a game changer. In so many ways, Bestseller Publishing is more solid, more sturdy, and stronger as a company than it has ever been before. And the number one reason that is in the last year plus is because of Bob doing a fantastic job in his role. Now, I'm not saying that the first thing you need to do is go out and hire an operations person. I don't necessarily think that. In fact, depending on where you're at in your business, you don't want to hire anybody with a title like that. And even Bob doesn't have a title like that. What you want to be doing, if you feel like you're in a place to where it's time to hand over the day-to-day operations so that you can focus on strategy, content creation, et cetera, whatever your $1,000, $10,000 an hour work is, if you feel like it's time to do that, then the first person you should actually hire within your business is somebody that is going to be an amazing personal assistant to you. If you find a great executive assistant, and I'm talking about someone that probably, on the low end is going to be 60 grand a year, and on the high end will be six figures. But if you find a great executive assistant, that person will grow into the role of operations manager in your business. A great executive assistant is the same role as a great operations manager is. And in most cases, you don't need an operations manager unless maybe you're at 7 million a year, 5, 7, 10 million bucks a year. At that point, perhaps. But if you're not in that place and you don't have an operations person, but you feel the stress of the operations taking you away from the $1,000 an hour work, then you need a great executive assistant that's going to be $60,000 to $100,000 a year. And that person should make your life better from the very first day. Okay. From the first day, that person should make your life better. Now, should that person be a 1099 or a W-2 or whatever? I'll leave that to you. In our case, Bob is a full-time employee with Bestseller Publishing, and we want him that way because I want all of Bob to be focused on the company and what we're doing. Let me give you example number 2, though, that has meant a world of help and change just in the last 3 months of Bestseller Publishing. So I was feeling like our author development coaches were needing more accountability, more help, more training, more guidance. I had heard this analogy years ago of paper clips on your desk. If you want your paper clips in a certain place on your desk, what ends up happening, eventually those paper clips, if you don't pay attention, get moved around, they get spread around. Maybe someone in and cleans your desk and puts the paper clips somewhere where you don't want them. You always have to take the time, and maybe it's not a great analogy, but I think you understand, to put the paper clips back where they belong, right? And if you don't do that, then you need to make sure you have someone always putting the paper clips back in the place on your desk where they belong so you know where to find them. Even though we don't use paper clips much anymore, but you get the idea. Probably heard this, and I'm dating myself. When it came to our author development coaches, I focused so much on driving great leads, getting high qualified people into our funnels, creating content that, puts us at the top of people's minds. And I was spending less and less time focused on this key role. And so what I decided to do, especially with Austin, who's a younger guy as an author development coach, I felt like we needed to hire a consultant. It wouldn't be a full-time position, but a consultant. And so I got several recommendations and I brought in a sales and training consultant. I found the best guy. And this guy ran a $50 million year, he took it from zero to $50 million a year, built the entire sales structure out. And I thought, this is the guy that I want to have as a consultant. He said, here's the deal. It's basically 30 minutes to an hour a week. I'll meet with you and or your team, whatever you decide. Initially, it should be you because we have some things that we need to do. Then it'll be your team, and it's $3,000 a month. I said, okay, $3,000 a month. You know, I mean, in essence, it's close to $1,000 an hour is what I'm paying him. A little more than the $100 an hour responsibility, but I knew that I couldn't do it and focus on this. So I said, let's give this a shot and let's see how it goes. And I can tell you, it has been a game changer. Now, will I always need him at that level? I don't know. I don't think so. But certainly having him to help us to install some new steps in our sales process, listening to the guys' actual sales calls and author development coaching calls, helping the guys through, you know, the emotion and the stuckness of sometimes, you know, you got 7 calls in a day and 6 of them don't show up. It just happens, right? And so having someone like Dylan, is his name, involved in that on a weekly basis has been a complete game changer for us. We have seen our conversion rates go way up. We have seen, this is part of why I said to you, I feel like Bestseller Publishing is on more solid and sturdy ground than we've ever been. We're doing better than we've ever done. It's because I'm focused on the things only I can be focused on: the content marketing, the marketing pieces, etc. While now, even at the level of dealing with some of the accountability and management of the sales process, I'm able to pay an outsourcer to do that. It has been phenomenal. And he's doing things that I could never do. So you can pay someone by a project. You can pay someone simply to come in and do coaching within your team or to handle a piece of your team. Yes, that person is not easy to find. Yes, you should get lots of recommendations for who that person is, but you don't necessarily need to hire a full-time person to fill that seat on your bus. You can fill it with the right person that is a contract person and isn't a person that maybe has any other responsibilities within the company, but just has one role to play and does one really, really important thing very, very well. So with all of that said, that's a lot of words. This is what I would leave you with. Number one, you're the first person that needs to be put in the right place on the bus. Take some time. Make your own graph of these are the responsibilities that I'm doing that honestly, I could pay someone 10 or 20 bucks an hour to do. And you need to have a heart-to-heart talk with yourself and think about, is this something that you really should be doing on a continued basis? Do that the same with the $100 an hour work and do that with the $1,000 hour. Here is what you will see. You will see that you are unable to do the $1,000 an hour work because of the hours you're spending on the $10 and $20 an hour work. You can't do both, okay? You can't. Even at my level where I've taken this $10 and I've been thinking about this stuff and doing this stuff for years, even with Bestseller Publishing, I took those things off my plate a long time ago. But you know what? The $100 to $500 an hour stuff I still had on my plate, and it took me away from my best use within the company. That will be true for you. So number one, make sure you're in the best place. Do your own graph and chart and really have a little bit of soul searching to determine what might need to be changed. And then start looking at who are the people that we might need to bring on. It doesn't necessarily mean that you bring them on full time. It doesn't mean that they're a W-2 employee, but just start looking and thinking and talking and getting advice. Can I bring someone on as a contract person? Do I need to do a W-2? Whatever it looks like, Obviously, you can find great people oftentimes by just asking around. You can certainly ask me. I know lots of great people, but that is going to help you to scale and grow your business considerably. Whereas if you don't do that, you're always going to be stuck, and maybe you're exactly where you want to be, and that's totally cool. But if you're not, you're going to stay stuck until you really grasp these things about having the right person in the right places.